18 to 8 on Zoo FM. Brekkie with Dan and Sarah.
And we get all of our, some of our tech stuff. I tell you what, he finds all of the great stuff that's hidden behind the scenes.
Yeah, that you wouldn't know about.
It's technologist Matt Dickerson with Tech Talk today. How you doing, Matt?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Dan. Good to see you, Sarah.
Hey.
And let's start about this. Is it augmented reality with this TV glasses? Is that what we're talking about?
No, I don't think you actually call it AR. I think this is really just a straight replacement for a good old-fashioned 140-inch TV that everyone has on their wall at home.
Yeah. You mean the wall?
The wall, that's right.
140 inches.
Wow.
One of the issues, of course, with 140 inches, not so much the 50 grand or 100 grand you might have to pay for it, it's finding a wall big enough to stick that 140-inch screen on. So one company's come up with a solution to that, and don't put a 140-inch screen on your TV. Put something on your glasses that's basically the same as a 140-inch TV. And this pair of glasses has got two micro OLED screens that basically you sit there in front of your eyes and you watch that, and it's the equivalent viewing of a 140-inch screen at a fraction of the price, but also the convenience. The main thing I thought about, Dan, was during lockdown, you might get a bit sick of sitting in the lounge room watching the TV. You want to move around a bit, so you go outside to the deck, or you sit around in the kitchen while you're making something, or maybe just go and lay in the bed, whatever, but you've always got those 140-inch screen equivalents on your eyes. They've got little speakers built into the arms of the actual glasses. They've got the ability to plug into anything that's got USB-C, so any device that can put out a video signal on USB-C it plugs into. And one of the great things I saw about this over, say, a virtual reality headset, one of the things I find with VR headsets is they're very heavy. There's so much technology built into the screen. They're very heavy. These look like a pretty daggy pair of normal glasses that are just a bit thicker on the arms where the speakers are built in. But overall, they look pretty cool. The other thing I thought as a reasonable use for them is not just sitting back watching that TV and that huge screen, but when, in the old days, when I used to fly on an aeroplane where we could travel, say, from Dubbo to Sydney or maybe fly overseas, I'd usually sit in the plane and I'd do a bit of work on my computer. And not that I had stuff that was highly confidential on there, but you're always a bit conscious of someone beside you, just have a bit of a sneak over at what you're doing. Whereas putting these on, you could actually have the equivalent of a 140-inch screen computer monitor in front of you while you're sitting on a plane working. I thought that was pretty cool.
I'm kind of imagining sitting at the front of the cinema, when I feel a little bit, motion sick from that. Is it like that at all?
No, it's actually quite cleverly designed. I mean, I know what you're saying. At the front of the theatre, you feel like you have a sore neck because you're looking back and forth across the whole screen.
Yeah.
But these are sitting there so that you are essentially looking straight ahead. And the resolution, that's the real thing here, Sarah. The resolution of the glass is so good that your glasses or your eyes don't notice the difference between looking at the screen that's just maybe a 5 or 3 centimetres in front of your eyes and a screen that might be 4 or 5 metres away. It just obviously scales down or scales up. You wouldn't have been able to do this until you got to the stage where the resolution of each pixel was small enough that it could be that close in front of your eyes.
It sounds kind of expensive. I mean, how much are these?
Well, I don't think it's too bad. They're less than $1,000. As I said, when you consider a 140-inch screen TV is ridiculous, but even buying, say, a 50-inch TV or a 55 or 60-inch TV these days, that gets you up into that $1,000 or more mark. It's not too bad for a price.
I might get myself a pair.
Well, let's focus or change the focus onto safety in the household, being that some research has gone into more home invasions happening because they need to get, if they want to take the car, they have to get into the house these days. You can't just hotwire a car.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that you put one block in place and then another opening happens somewhere else. Back in 2001, when you two kids were still in nappies, then they had this anti-theft security concept that came up with, and it became mandatory in Australia. You had to have, every new car sold in Australia had to have a transponder built into the actual key itself. So the old movies you see where some guy comes running through and smashes the window on a car and sticks his hand underneath the dash and pulls out a couple of wires and sticks them together and off they go, that can't happen because the transponder is an electronic device in the keys and it communicates with other parts of the car. Typically it's the fuel pump, so that effectively if you haven't got that transponder in the car, you can hotwire it all you like, you can stick a few wires together, but if that fuel pump doesn't detect that transponder somewhere in near vicinity, it says, no, I'm not going to play ball. So consequently, thefts went down. That kind of makes sense. People couldn't just rip open the dash and go for it. But then what's happened is that home invasions have gone up, because the only way someone's going to be able to steal your car now is to basically be able to steal your keys. So they're calling it sneak theft. It's got a term. It must be a popular thing if it's got a term that's been made for it. So they call it sneak theft, where they come in and sneak into your house, and that's the way they steal your car. They're not after things in your house. They really don't want to come across you in terms of have a violent situation there. They just want your car. And often what they'll use that for then is 70% of cars that are stolen are then used for another crime. So they really just want a getaway car, for example, or they want to go and do some other crime, and they just want not their car as part of it. But the good news is car theft has gone down by 60% since 2001. Bad news is you really need to hide your keys somewhere. Don't leave them sitting around the kitchen bench. Don't leave them somewhere obvious. So if someone comes past your house, sticks their head up to the window and goes, "Oh, there's Dan's keys, I reckon I can go and steal his car."
Well, this is a project for you to look into. How long is it until we get Demolition Man style chips in our hands so that we have to sit in the car to actually make it go? It's all synced up to our biologicals.
Well, you might get to the stage where, and some cars do it now, where you can actually have something, some part of you that's required. So you might have, for example, an eye recognition or a fingerprint recognition to actually get your car started. So that might be good or might be bad, Dan. They might come in, chop your hand off while you're sleeping and take that and your keys, and away you go.
I think I might notice.
Well, you won't be able to fight back. You got one hand, Dan.
Oh, hit him with me stump. It'll be fine.
You call that a wound?
Your arm's off. All right. Finally, I do love the idea of a smart home. More and more things are being able to be connected to a smart home hub. What's next, my friend?
Well, what's next is getting the things to talk together. This is the biggest problem that we have. There are so many bits of smart home tech out there. There's all sorts of different manufacturers vying to be the one, but the problem is they don't talk. So you really have to make a decision about who you want to go with. What sort of focus do you want for all of your smart home tech? And the problem you do that is you pick brand A, and next thing you know, you see this killer feature from brand B, and you go, no, it doesn't work with my brand A. They did a survey across the US, and despite the fact that this whole concept has been going for over 11 years now in terms of these smart home devices, only about 36% of homes in the US have any smart home devices at all. And when they drilled down in that survey more, they found that this was the problem, because people were stuck with, which way do I go? What decision do I make? So there's a new organisation that's popped up called Matter, and they're working on the Connectivity Standards Alliance. So what they're trying to do is to say, sure, brand A, brand B, brand C, you go and come up with your great products, you try and be the leader in the marketplace, but while you're doing that, how about we all just talk a common sort of language? How about we all talk the same language so we can all have these conversations together with all these different devices? And the simplest example I would have is, imagine if you bought a Samsung phone, but you could only ring your friends that have got a Samsung phone, or an Apple phone and only ring friends with an Apple phone, that type of thing. The whole idea is that you want these to be able to communicate with a common standard rather than have to have all those devices that are the same. And I see lots of great devices pop up all the time, but again, what else will they communicate with? A smart home that doesn't really communicate with other devices, kind of a low IQ smart home.
Okay, well, thank you, Matt Dickerson, our tech guy. Hopefully Alexis and Google won't be talking too much in my house. It'll be too much chatter.
It's always interesting when you ask one of them about the other one. You say to Siri, do you like Alexa? Are you friends with Alexa? And that sort of thing. And you get some interesting answers back.
I'll be doing that at lunchtime. Thanks very much for your time, Matt.
But thanks, Dan. Bye, Sal.
Bye.